Greetings. This is going to be what I hope to be an efficient, though maybe not super quick, overview of Essay 2 for our C1000 class. Okay. Because this is a hybrid course, a lot of work is going to be done online with reading, discussion, etc. The other half is going to be done in class. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to what is happening online because that's going to make us do better on the essay assignment. So I'm just giving you that as a preface. Okay. So I'm going to share screen and show you essay 2, and go from there. I could stop and start the recording over again, but this is already my third attempt. Not happening. Okay. So rhetorical analysis. What is rhetorical analysis? You got to think of it. The analogy I always use, you're dissecting a frog in biology class. Why did you dissect that frog? It wasn't because you cared about that frog and wanted to figure out why it died. You're not doing an autopsy. It's not that you hate that frog and you're trying to torture it. It's that you want to understand all the different pieces and how they work together. That is the goal for this particular assignment. We are dissecting a debate. And that debate is going to be one of two things. And I'll get into more detail on this in a minute. AI or immigration. You get to pick one or the other. Those are two very crucial ones for our society today. It's about how we treat people. It's about what kind of vision we have for our society going forward in terms of culture, creativity, employment, economic value. All of those things are weighed in by both of those issues. Okay, so rhetorical analysis, this triangle, purpose, author, audience, right? So the author has a particular purpose, and he or she or they need to be aware of their audience to make sure that they can convey that purpose to reach their get their message across, right? The audience has to understand the reader's or the writer's purpose. They have to know a little bit about the author. That's going to help them understand the message. So these three things play off of each other. Okay. So this assignment will require you to dissect the debate over immigration, legal, illegal, other, or the rise of AI in society, using as the basis of your work the Essay 2 sources provided on our Canvas site, which I'm going to show you in a second, in the Essay 2 modules, and or the articles on AI in the Critical Thinking Reading Writing 11th edition text. If you have the 10th, 9th, or 8th edition because you couldn't afford to get the newest one, or that's the free PDF you found, these AI articles are not in there. You can still write on AI. There are articles on Canvas. Okay. You will analyze your selected issue or debate, taking into consideration a variety of factors, which we'll go over later. And here's the key in developing your reasoned understanding on the merits and complexities of the issue. So let's say you're focused on immigration and crime. What are the merits of that debate? When people are saying immigrants are committing crimes, okay, what kind? Misdemeanors, felonies? Are they doing it more than American citizens? Are they doing it less? Okay. If undocumented immigrants are doing less, that'd be an interesting thing to point out. If they're doing more, that'd be an interesting thing to point out, right? And that would help explain people's positions. Okay. But also, there might be some complexity. As an example, a lot of people understand that undocumented immigrants and accept the fact that undocumented immigrants come to this country specifically to take jobs because they want greater economic opportunity. And the jobs they often take are ones that American citizens aren't terribly interested in doing. So that is actually a benefit to the American citizenry because those jobs need to be done and American citizens don't want to do it. Okay, so that's an argument in favor of allowing for some undocumented immigration, being a little bit less invested in this disgusting deportation process that our current administration is going through. But the flip side of that, undocumented immigrants do indeed take some jobs from American citizens. And quite often, the jobs that they take are the ones that the poorest or least educated American citizens would typically get. So, our most vulnerable American citizens are the ones that are more likely to be, for lack of a better word, hurt by undocumented immigration and employment. Okay, so that's understanding the complexities of it. They do indeed help our economy. They do contribute, okay, but they do also cause some harm, honestly, like everybody else, okay? Now, the next line, how you feel about immigration or AI, positive or negative, must be kept out of the essay entirely. What you are giving me is your reasoned understanding based on the different sources that you have read and analyzed. Okay? Because it can't just be, I think it should be this. That's not what I'm asking for. We've got those kinds of essays coming up for essay 3 and essay 4. We're not focused on that here. Here, we need to be as objective as possible and simply say, this fact promotes the idea that undocumented immigrants are contributing more to the economy than they are taking. Or these facts, this logical argument from this source indicates that AI is costing human creativity and promoting laziness among the more educated classes. Whatever. Okay. Moving forward, a couple things about it. 1,100 to 1,500 words, just so you know, that's about not quite 4 pages to maybe about 5 or so. Plus, we're excited. It is worth significantly more. We're now at 120 points for this essay compared to 80 for essay number 1. Rough draft, as always, is 10%. Participation on rough draft is always 5%. And then the essay itself is that final 102. We will do the same 4 typed copies of your essay. It needs to be at least 3 full pages. You're bringing it on the rough draft due date. Final draft, you're going to submit down here. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing and just talk at you a few more minutes. What you need to be doing for this essay is reading multiple sources on one focused topic. Okay. So your one focused topic can be AI, and that's it. It could be immigration, and that's it. Or it could be the economic side of the immigration debate. Maybe that's going to be what you're going to narrowly focus on. So now read multiple articles. It's not about you reading one and saying, here's what I think. Nope. You're going to read multiple ones from different sources, because the more perspectives you get on an issue, the more intelligent you will understand, more deeply, more intelligently, you will understand that issue. The analogy I use is, imagine a car accident happens at, Magnolia and I don't know, University or whatever. I don't even know if they connect. But Magnolia and Mission, right downtown by the district office. Boom, there's a car accident. There are multiple different people that we're going to want to talk to. We don't want to talk to just one driver. If you talk to only one driver, are you going to get a real good understanding of what happened in that car accident? No, because that person is going to distort the story so that they were like, I had a green, this guy ran red, it's entirely his fault. Well, if you only talk to the other driver, same thing. You talk to them both, now it's just he said, she said, that kind of thing. So it's going to be hard. What you want now is a more objective person off to the side who said, I saw the accident. I don't care about either one of these people. That dude ran the red and hit her, right? You want something a little bit more official. You want something a little bit more objective. That's going to be incredibly important, something less personal. So make sure that you're reading multiple sources on your narrow focus for this assignment, and then use them to kind of mash together like a snowball your essay that says, these are the most articulate, intelligent, positive, effective, argumentative points in favor of why immigrants, undocumented immigrants should be allowed in the country because, or something like that. Okay, you got some choices in there, and we'll talk about that in more detail as we get deeper into the assignment. Don't miss class. Don't miss class. Okay. We're going to be covering a lot in class. And if you're not there, you're missing out, and your essay is going to come in short. If you rely only on this video and a couple others that I post on Canvas, you're lost, because this is not an online class. There's a lot that's going to happen in person. So make sure you're there. Okay. So we are going to read multiple sources and come up with a good, thoughtful, reasoned understanding of the debate, its merits, its complexities, that kind of thing. That's the goal. All right. I'm hoping this was helpful. If not, I tried. Tell me what I could do better.